the MVP of last year's Super Bowl. He was a Pro Bowler in 2009, seventh year in the NFL, and he picked up right where he left off. He had a huge opening week. The Packers beat the Saints. They're at Carolina on Sunday. Aaron Rodgers is my guest. Aaron, it is good to have you back. How are you?
Good to be back, Jim. Doing well, thank you.
Yeah, so far so good. Hey, let me start first with last week's game. Aaron, one of the controversies allegedly coming out of that game was that James Jones was unhappy with the way he was used, unhappy with his role, said he wanted to be out there on the field. He can't catch the ball if he's not out there. You saw that whole thing. What's your reaction to it?
Well, my reaction is that, I can understand where he's coming from. He's been a big contributor for us, and he just wants more opportunities. I think, in our offense with so many weapons that we have and so many different guys we use in our different packages, it's a tough job to balance the number of reps each guy's getting. With Greg being so consistent and Jordy really having, his last 6 or 7 games for us have been really, really consistent. It's tough to get everybody the kind of reps they want, but I think moving forward it's going to be important for us to give James more opportunities because he's a big part of our offense, and I think that we need to find ways to get him involved earlier than we did last week.
I can imagine him feeling that way. Do you have any problem with him saying it?
I don't. I really don't. I think that in that situation, I don't really feel like he was a distraction. We haven't had a lot of distractions from our players with things related to this. The thing that we do well in Green Bay is we address things behind closed doors. This was a conversation that we've had already, and it was just, I don't know that he would have liked to be put in that situation. He kind of, I think, walked in the locker room, got surrounded, and said a couple of things he was feeling, and I think the media kind of ran with that. But we talked about it. We talked about getting him more opportunities this week, and that was on, it wasn't Friday after the game. This was I think Wednesday. So we're talking 6 days after the game, something we'd already talked about amongst ourselves, and it really hasn't been a distraction for us.
Just one more thought on that. Has he ever come to you and said, I need you to get me the ball?
No, that's the great thing about the guys is they know how I play. I mean, I'm not a guy who's going to play favorites. I'm going to throw it to the open guy. I don't really take a whole lot of risks. I don't throw it in triple coverage. I think our scheme is good enough. Our guys outside and inside are good enough, and I like to throw it to the open guys. So I just those guys know that I'm an open door as far as if you want to have a conversation with me. But I think they also know that I'm gonna tell it to them straight if they have any issues with the way I'm playing, and we haven't had any issues as far as that goes. Packers
quarterback Aaron Rodgers, my guest. You talk about having so many different options. What was it like to have Jermichael Finley back?
It was great. It really was. We missed him last year a lot, and we were able to overcome losing him and still win a championship with getting Greg more involved, and obviously James Jones and Jordy and Donald had solid seasons for us. But it's nice having Jermichael and Ryan Grant back. It gives us a different look on offense. The defense, it makes them try and kind of pick your poison. If you double up on J-Mike, then we got Jordy and Greg who had big games for us. You also have obviously James Jones and Donald Driver. There's a lot of weapons, and then having Ryan Grant back in the backfield and pairing him with James Starks, who had a good finish to last season. We really have a good 1-2 punch in the backfield now that hopefully will keep teams keep that 8th guy down in the box, that 7th guy in the box and sub personnel, and give us more of an opportunity to have those one-on-ones outside and make some plays down the field.
I don't want this to sound self-serving, but watching you guys in that first quarter, Aaron, I tweeted at that time, I guess they didn't need those off-season workouts. And I just, I did it. I didn't think much of it. But then after the game, I think that you made it pretty clear we didn't need those off-season workouts. That kind of irritated you, didn't it?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I felt like we took some unfair criticism this off-season by some people who have a voice in the media. And regardless of your opinion of the off-season workouts, my point was that those things don't have a major impact on regular season games. Once we get to the first week of the season, we've already had 4 weeks of preseason games and training camp, and those may be good for a team that needs chemistry work or has a new system going in. But my point was that we had the 6th year of Mike McCarthy's offense, 3rd year of Dom Capers' defense. More of a veteran team, a team that kind of grew up in the system that we're in, and at the same time, I don't think there was anybody pushing up to have those workouts. So I was disappointed about the criticism we took, and felt like I needed to get my point across.
How about if I try and translate that? We just won a Super Bowl. You shouldn't be telling me how to do my job.
Well, I'm just going to let you say that, and hopefully we're moving past the off-season workout stuff.
Aaron Rodgers joining me on the show. That's what I'm here to do, translate and move past things. Let me get your thoughts on Randall Cobb. He burst onto the scene in that game, a 32-yard touchdown reception, a 108-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. I mean, you talk about a weapon. You knew the guy had upside. You knew he was explosive. Did anything he did surprise you in that game?
Well, the touchdown surprised me because he ran the wrong route. But I was able to make a quick reaction to him running a slant route when he was supposed to be in the flat. But I wasn't surprised by his ability once he got the ball in his hands. We've seen that in practice. Unfortunately, he missed a good portion of the preseason because of an injured knee. But talk about a guy who really gets it. The first day he got here, he had that look in his eye that he was he wasn't your average rookie as far as kind of trying to find his spot and a little overwhelmed. The scene wasn't too big for him, and he stepped right in, and very fast learner, very dedicated. Just carries himself like a good professional should, and we're excited about him, excited about getting him more touches because you saw what happens when he gets the ball in his hands. He had a great catch and run for the touchdown, and then the kickoff return was something really special.
Yeah, I talked to Brian Urlacher not long ago, and usually he's not only is he not effusive in praise of opposing quarterbacks, he's looking to kill the opposing quarterback. But I did say to him, seeing Aaron Rodgers in week 1, is he now the guy? Is he the best quarterback in the NFL? And Aaron, he said, you are. He said that, yeah, I think he is the best quarterback in the NFL. Hearing something like that from a guy like that, the guy that you go so hard against, how'd that make you feel?
Well, that's, I'm flattered by that, first of all. And, I think that was probably before he may have watched Tom Brady play. Monday night, that was quite a show. But Brian and I have had a real good relationship and a lot of respect on both sides, I think. He's probably my favorite player in the NFL to play against just because I really respect the way he plays and know he prepares like a quarterback does. He's the quarterback of their defense and a great player. I've been doing it for a long time, and he's their team leader and a guy, like I said, I really enjoy playing with, and my heart goes out to him losing his mom this week. But I'm glad to see that he's back surrounded by his teammates, and I'm sure getting a lot of support from them.
Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, my guest. Eric, I saw the feature on NFL Network on America's Game about your run to the championship, and I thought the one part of it that was so great was the piece about you and Clay Matthews. You've got the offensive leader and lots of leaders on both sides of the ball, but you're the guy, he's the guy on defense. But as somebody who grew up in Southern California, I know how people in Northern California feel about us down here south. They don't like each other. The two sides don't like each other at all. Now, the two of you guys might be tight, but there are very definite differences between Northern California and Southern California, right?
I think there's a few different personalities as you go up and down the state. I would say that, I lived in the Bay Area, went to school at Berkeley. I think the people there are a little different than the people where I grew up in Chico in Northern California. And then there's kind of that area from Fresno to San Bernardino. That area is kind of like a little different as far as, those people from there are different than the people from the Bay Area, from Northern California, and also from Southern California. It's just something I like to tease Clay with about being kind of going Hollywood and hanging out with movie stars and living in L.A. and being at all the premieres and the things he does. I know it kind of gets to him a little bit, so just something I like to mess with him about. But I really enjoyed that piece when they kind of went from me and Wood saying something about him, and then it cut to him actually doing that, with his little hair swing or his, him trying to tease me about being Hollywood. That was a really good piece. But I always like ribbing Clay a little bit. He's definitely very image conscious.
He's got that long hair. You were rocking that great chevron stash.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
Aaron Rodgers, my guest. You say that and you laugh about it, but then you've got differences between Northern California, Southern California, guys who play the same positions. And then you've got Mark Sanchez, who's Orange County. You weren't really teasing him so much when you talked about that GQ piece when you said it was embarrassing and terrible. You took a little offense to that, right?
I wasn't talking about him. I mean, if you listen to the playback of the interview, I was asked, why am I not on the GQ covers? And I said, it's not my personality. I said, if you look at this picture here, I would be embarrassed to have that shot. And I went into talking about when I was on the cover of another magazine, and it was just an uncomfortable situation for me because I'm just not comfortable in an environment where I'm getting in front of the camera and asked to do different poses and stuff. So, I'm glad Mark took it well. It wasn't an attack on him. At the same time, if you're on the cover of a magazine, like I've been, with this LV shoot I was on, and like Mark's been, and different guys, I think you just can't take yourself too seriously on there.
So what you're saying is you're just not comfortable doing that sort of thing. That's just not your deal.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
I wonder. I mean, you're in a great spot because you can be the guy, and you're a guy who's always liked his privacy and his anonymity, and you play in a market where you can do that. I mean, what if everything were different? What if you got drafted by the Jets? What if you were the guy? I mean, would you be comfortable doing that, and how do you think you would do in that city where everybody's constantly on you?
I would be uncomfortable in that situation. I think I've adapted to more of the notoriety and being recognized a little bit more when I'm out. But like you said, I'm a private person. I enjoy my separation between public life and private life. That's why I think I'm in a perfect spot, and didn't really realize that in 2005 when I was drafted. But I think I have kind of the personality of a small town guy who Midwest team, and I'm able to throw the ball in the cold. So it's a perfect fit for me, and I'm glad I'm not anywhere else.
Last thought then. I mean, maybe you didn't change, but it has to all change once you win the Super Bowl. How different has it been in that regard?
Yeah, it's changed. A lot of people watch the Super Bowl, obviously, and just more recognizable in when I'm out or in a different city. But I think this last year I really tried to take back those areas of normalcy in my life and realize that I still should be able to go to the grocery store and buy groceries and go to dinner when I want and do those things and have those moments when I'm not Aaron Rodgers the quarterback. I'm just Aaron Rodgers the guy, sitting down at dinner just like you're doing. So, I think fans, for the most part are pretty respectful of those times I'm trying to be normal, and I hope they still are when, we keep having some more success here.
Aaron, I've got 1 minute. When you finally get to the top of the mountain and you have the final say, I mean, you were right, everybody was wrong. Do you take your foot off the gas a little bit, or do you push down even harder? Where does the motivation come from then?
Well, I don't know about the I was right, everybody's wrong. I think that there was a great sense of accomplishment, and
you're not going to say that, but I will. But go ahead.
Well, there's a great sense of accomplishment and enjoyment of doing something I always want to do. I dreamt about since I was a kid. But I think the motivation has got to come from within, and it's a refocusing of challenges and picking those new challenges and doing what you got to do to go get them.
Aaron Rodgers, my guest. Aaron, really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You bet, Jim. Thanks, buddy.
Take care.